So he says the Yod Yesh Ra B'Lashon Hara. He says that there's another evil in slander. A bad part of slander is when you slander your neighbor, you boast about yourself. You feel better about yourself. You see yourself as righteous in your own eyes. What do I do? I speak to that guy one time and tell him, listen, you gotta do this, behave, this, that, do. So listen, at least I'm not like this guy. You see this guy? He's not Shomer Shabbat. This guy, you see this guy? He doesn't even dive and look. He's just talking the whole time. At least I came to shul, Rabbi. At least. So what happens? This at least makes him feel like when he's doing wrong, it's okay. At least it's better than the other guy, right? Right. So even if you take a prince and you make him live with barbarians, he's gonna have no manners, but he's gonna say, like, at least I'm not a barbarian. Look, at least I use a fork and knife. Okay, I'm dirty and I talk and I burp while I eat, but they eat with their hands. At least I use a fork and knife, So the person could get delusional. So it says he aggrandizes himself. He says, so and so did such things and I didn't. So now I'm virtuous. I have virtue. Now, if he performed a mitzvah and gave virtue to himself, it would be very bad, right? Nobody's supposed to talk highly of themselves and have gava. But now, when he puts down the other guy and attributes good to himself when he didn't even do anything, if you did a mitzvah and you were proud of it, okay, and you talk about it to other people, okay, so you have a gava problem. But now, you didn't even do anything right. You did wrong. But in comparison to the other guy, he didn't do so bad, so now you give yourself zechut. What is that? That's sheker. That's baloney. So now, therefore, he says that's even greater evil. So he says, Mi shomer chavero hichan yesh esh, elo bebe ploni t'shkich ba basar v'dagim, afilu zeh hu lashon hara. Like Mar Rechin says, that a person has to be careful not to even say things like this, where a person said, "Where is there a fire? Where can I go and get some food and get some warmth? A good place, a hospitable place." Is you go to so and so's house. There's always meat and fish over there. So that's considered lashon hara also. Why? Because the wording makes it sound like, there's always fish and meat over there. They're always partying. There's always over there. They overdo it. They're always having a good time over there. But the guy, all he asked was for the good place to go get hospitality. Yeah, there's always meat and fish over there. Like you talked about it in the negative connotation. Even that he says that's considered lashon hara. So he says, how careful a person has to be with his mouth. We said you have to be careful to avoid lashon hara, even dust of lashon hara, right? It says Yaakov Avinu fought with the angel Esav, and the Midrash says that the dust, right? The dust that they cause to unsettle because they're fighting, they cause a lot of dust to go up. He says, and what does that dust represent? He says, in the Torah, we find certain prohibitions. They have the prohibition called dust, avak ribit, right? There's dust of ribit, which means it looks similar to ribit, interest, but it's not charging interest. It's not literally. It's just similar to it. And then you have avak lashon hara, the dust of lashon hara, which is things that are not mamash lashon hara, but they're similar to it. It very easily leads to lashon hara. For example, we gave a case where a guy says, "How was so and so's house?" I'd rather not say. No, don't ask. Why? Don't ask. Who you? What do you mean? Say now. You have to say. No, I can't say. No, come on. You can't leave us like this. You have to say now. So what? So it's going to lead to lashon hara very easily. If you would have said, "No, it was okay. It was good." That's the end of the story. But because you said this kind of weird answer, you gave everybody interest. You picked everybody's interest. So now everybody's going, you have to say, no, we're not leaving. You're not leaving till you tell us. And how is going to leave till lashon hara? So you just did avak lashon hara. The sages tell us, don't speak good of your neighbor, for in speaking in his good, he will come to evil. What does that mean? If he speaks good in presence of his enemy will say, he's a good guy. No, he's not a good guy. He starts speaking lashon hara. So now you just triggered somebody to say lashon hara. Also, avak lashon hara. What about his friends who love him? You're talking in front of people who love him. So if you're in front of people who love him, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai says, I had 5 disciples, and he would say each of them in Pirkei Avot which one was good. What each good virtue of each of them, right? He is like a sponge that never loses a drop. He is like a spring that goes forth, never ending, right? So you see, you're a lot of praise, your students, your friends, in front of people who love them. That's not a problem. Even if a person does slander and joke, it's not allowed. As a madman, as it says, King Solomon writes in the Mishlei, as a madman who casts firebrands, he says, like a madman who throws fire, arrows, and death, so is the man who deceives his friend and says, oh, I'm not joking, I'm just joking. What do you mean you're joking? You still said bad about me. People still, oh, you remember you came one time and you fell and you were such a klutz. You remember? That was so funny. Oh, hilarious. No, it's not funny. That's not funny. What do you mean? Yeah, you fell down the steps. You don't know how to this. Everybody's around. Yeah, that really happened. Oh, they start looking at him different. He's guys, it's a joke. It's a funny story. I want to make everybody laugh. No, who said you can say these kind of stories? Who put me down in front of everybody like that? What are you doing? I was just joking. King Solomon says the guy who will stab you and kill you, put death, throw arrows at you. I was just joking. He get away with everything, excuse for everything. I was just joking. Somebody who slanders deceitfully, speaking innocence. This is a very big Yitzhara. You speak slander about the guy, and he gets damaged by people. Look at him differently now. I didn't know he was gonna make you in a bad light. I didn't know it was gonna bother you. I thought you were okay with it. He knows what he did, and he hides behind innocence. Oh, and he's now. I thought it was okay with you. I didn't know they're gonna look at you different because of that. All that kind of nonsense is that a person has to be very careful. Also, this is also a big thing. Gemara Yuma says anybody tells you a secret, you're not allowed to reveal what your friend told you without his permission. People assume that people told me something, I could tell the whole world. Until he tells me you can't say, don't tell anybody between me and you, and hopefully even there, when he says between me and you, most people they say anyways. But Halakha says the opposite. You're not allowed to say anything your friend tells you. Until what? Until he says you can tell other people. Because he says, if he comes to you, if he wanted the whole world to know, he would have announced. Why did he tell you? It means he wants you. I have a business now. I'm gonna go and open this new restaurant. Da, da, da. You tell the whole world he's gonna open a restaurant. And who told you could say? I told you for a reason. I could have told the whole world myself. I don't need you as my megaphone. But people who have this yitzhara, they need to always come with news, like we spoke about last time. Oh, you hear? You heard? You did. So therefore, a person has to know that's also under the laws of Lashon Hara. He can't say things that a person didn't want to be said about himself. Okay, there is Chas v'Shalom. People misuse this, but there is a concept called apetata, and once things become public knowledge, it's not Lashon Hara anymore. And if you said a statement that it was vague, could have been good, could have been bad, and then 3 people heard it, the guy said it in front of 3 people, so that means obviously he meant it for good, so you're allowed to repeat it. These leniencies, people sometimes overuse them, and they misuse them. In order to be able to speak Lashon Hara, a person has to be very careful and not to speak Lashon Hara. Think twice, 3 times before you say something.
Some nations, they're allowed to, because they have anything in Noahide laws, they're not allowed to speak slander about each other.
Non-Jews?
Non-Jews, yeah.
Non-Jews, I don't believe there's an issue of slander. There's no issue of slander against them, and I don't think amongst themselves they have issue of slander. But it's not a good habit. It's not a good habit. Talking behind someone's back, it's very painful, very hurtful. Okay, fine. Look at this. As the Gemara says, there was a student who revealed something that had been spoken at Bet Midrash 22 years earlier, and he was evicted from the Bet Midrash by Rabbi Ami because he called him a revealer of secrets. So he threw him out of the Bet Midrash. He revealed something that was, it's past 22 years past, right? And he said you're not allowed to. He threw him out of the Bet Midrash. There's another transgression called rechilut. What's rechilut? Rechilut is a talebearer. He loads himself with talk, goes from person to person saying, oh, this is what so-and-so said about you, and I heard so-and-so said this about you. You stir the pot, right, as they say. Right? You call this one, oh, I was speaking to Avram the other day. You know what he said about you? Oh, he's very upset at you. Wow. And what happens now? You get the guy, oh yeah, I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to see him tomorrow. I'm going to have a nice conversation with him. I'm going to be peace of my mind. So what? So now, maybe Avram wouldn't have confronted him. Maybe he just wanted to vent to you. But now what you do? You started beef. And who knows where this is going to go? Who knows what's going to go? Who knows what? It could go out of control completely. You never expect. And what did you do? With your mouth, you started a fire.